Hi guys, JJ here. Welcome back to another Saturday Zoom Networking. Really excited about today's guest speaker. The young man I've met personally, just a great guy. He's one of Pace Morby's rising rock stars in Pace Morby Sub2 community. And if you've been on my calls before, you've heard me talk about Pace Morby, the expert in creative finance for not only the country, but the world. And the Sub2 community is by far unparalleled as the premier rules education platform today. Our guest speaker is out of Pace's community. He's one of Pace's good friends. And he's one of my good friends. He started as a student. He's an investor. He's become just an icon for what you need to do to be successful and how to get successful. And he's going to share some of his story today. My good friend, Kevin Choe. How are you, Kev?
Hey JJ, I can't say enough. This is my second time coming back onto the podcast, and the first one was home run. Like we had over, I don't know, 300 people show up, and it was one of the biggest stages I've ever spoken at, virtual stage. So I just can't thank you enough. And that was like the beginning of my career. And like now I get used to speaking on stages, things like that. So I just want to thank you so much for at least giving me the opportunity to get it
You're
started.
so welcome, but I've followed you for the last year and a half, and I see the stages you speak on. I see the communities you speak to. You're highly, highly regarded and respected within the Sub2 community. Um, for those that don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I am in the best state of all time, Phoenix, Arizona.
And you're originally from SoCal, though, right?
I am originally from SoCal. I'm from Irvine.
Okay, so we're gonna claim you a little bit out here in
Yeah,
California.
everybody gets to a little, hey, he's from Irvine, he's from Vegas, he's from Phoenix. I'm all over the place.
There you go. Hey man, I wanted to ask you because you're a young guy. I mean, you're just hit 23 years old and you're just been tearing it up. You're the example of what every parent wants their son to be and what every young person wants to, you know, ascend as you have ascended. You've done a good number of deals. I know that. Um, when you're in high school, you live in Southern California probably then, right?
Yeah, I was.
So when you're going to high school, was real estate like even on the landscape for you, or as you got out of high school, you're getting, I don't know if you went to junior college or anything like that, but when you got out of high school, were you working or were you was when what were you doing through those years of your teens into now your early 20s?
It's interesting that you say that because I think a lot of people here have entrepreneurial, tendency, and not many people actually realize that, right? So for me, I've always knew that I wanted to be a business owner, right? Like in high school, I remember, I'll sell these gummy worms. So like gummy worms with Kool-Aid with powder. You know, when you like football
Mhm.
players like they put the whole, Kool-Aid powder and make Kool-Aid out of it. Like I used to mix them all together. It was like those were like drugs in high school back, 5 years, 6 years ago. Like people would be addicted to it. Like the gummy worms and then the Kool-Aid powder, you mix it in a little Ziploc bag, sell it for $1. Like I had so many recurring clients. And I'm like, this is a business. I was making like $10 a day off of it. I'm like, so I do I to answer your question, I did have a tendency to be entrepreneur, but I never really realized it up until I went into junior college because I grew up I had a I my high school career was okay. I didn't make I didn't do that well, but I graduated 3.7 GPA, decent ACT score, but I didn't get into schools that I was really wanted to. And a matter of fact, I never even really wanted to go to school. But so I was like, you know what, like let me just drop out and figure out my life as we go. And you look back 4 years later, it's like, look where I'm at.
Well, now let me
So
ask you something. Although
yeah.
you took a sidestep away from your secondary education, when you started, did you have a focus? Was it law? Was it medicine? Was it a business degree? Was it economics? Did you have
I was
any
a
kind of
business
a generic direction at that time?
I was a business major.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't because But I had never taken courses on, business major specifically because, the first 2 years of college is like general education courses anyway. So I was just taking like history classes, math classes. But I've always wanted to start my own business. I just love because I had jobs when I was in high school. Like I remember for people that don't know, like people that are that are from like SoCal region, I used to work at 85 Degree Bakery. That's the cafe that I used to work at. And I remember I went to the bathroom the first like couple weeks and I taking a dump in the bathroom. It was like for like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And my manager comes back to me and like, "Hey, where were you? I haven't seen you. Like I don't see I haven't seen you for 10 minutes." And I come to find out he was looking at everybody like where everybody was doing in front of the camera. And he was like, "Don't you have to tell me when you're going to the bathroom?" And this was like senior year of high school. Like, what am I a 2-year-old? Like, you're gonna tell me when I can go to high school, when I can go to the bathroom and when I can't, and I
Yeah,
have to get
seriously,
permission.
seriously.
I quit on the spot. I was like, I'm not doing this. And it's funny enough, I actually went to California on Tuesday, and I try not to go back to my hometown, but I flew out of John Way, so I was driving through Irvine, and my mom's like, let's grab boba. So we actually went back to the 85 degree that I used to work at, and he didn't see me, but I saw him still working at that bakery, and it was like 6 years after since I graduated high school. So I'm like, it's like it was a good comparison. Like, oh, he still works there, and I'm in a completely different spot. So I decided to pursue my career in real estate, obviously, and he's still, working as a manager, and no regrets.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's amazing, and half the opportunities that materialize for us are the opportunities that we make for ourselves. And obviously, you got the entrepreneurial spirit. Um, let's talk about Sub Two for a second. Talk about Pace. I mean, we met through Sub Two. You're now known as a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Um, and you're on the early age of your long life, right?
Yeah.
How did you hear about Pace? How did you fall into Sub Two? How did that transpire for you?
Well, it's a long-winded story, but it I had this little transition time going out of college, junior college, and then the moment I joined Sub 2 because I didn't have many options going into it. Like I was like, what options do I have for someone that doesn't even have a college degree, right? Like I mean, I can always go back to the restaurant industry and always make, I don't know, $100 a day or whatever. But it's like, okay, well, where is that leading me into? And I was doing a lot of research about how to start your businesses and all of this on YouTube. So before I even actually got into Sub 2, my second business that I ever had was an ATM business. I had an ATM business that I started off of just watching YouTube. And then because I was on my YouTube was feeding me all these entrepreneurial contents, I got into real estate. I was just watching real estate contents, and then I went to Max Maxwell. I joined wholesaling, different wholesaling mentorship, and then fun along the way. And then I'm like, you can buy a house without any of your credit, And then watched a couple of his videos. I binged his YouTube video for a while until I joined, and that was a little over 3 years ago. three
Cool.
years and 1 month.
Wow, good for you. Yeah, and the ascent that you've done. Um, and just to give people an idea, I mean, it took me 2 years to get my first deal. You've been in for 3 years now. Um, you've done a very large number of deals. Is that correct?
I have done, hold on, let me just, I have done over 140 plus sub two deals.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, you
79 in 2023.
wow. You just become the poster person for success. So let's talk about your topic today. Our topic is going to be, or as your chosen topic is social media and YouTube.
Right.
And we talked the other day. We got acquainted. We did our promo. And I loved your answer when I asked you the question. Why did you choose social media and YouTube? So I'll
Yeah.
ask you again. Why did you choose social media? I think the people in the car are going to love the answer.
I mean, it's free. It's free marketing. I mean, I want to throw this question back on you because you have more experience in terms of podcasts. You've been doing podcasts for the last however many years and
4 years.
4 years. how many business opportunities has that brought you? You know, just having platform, people want to be on this podcast. I actually, when I first saw you at the Clever Summit, I don't know if you recognize me. You walked right by me and I was waving at you, and but you didn't recognize me at that time because I was like a smaller guy. But like not like I envision myself being on your podcast. Truly, I
Cool.
wanted to be on your podcast.
You know,
So for me, it's like
go ahead.
people want to hang out with you.
You know, I hope that's the case. And to run off that, I always tell my group, don't chase the deal, chase the relationship. I try
Right,
and present myself as one that people want to get to know because I feel the success of my business will be predicated by the people I surround myself with.
right.
So, the last 4 years, gosh, my mom passed away in 22. And that first whole year, really, I got into Seb too. I was in my prior education group when my mom was dying of stage 4 lung cancer. And so most of my time was either running our shopping centers or looking after mom. And I had jumped into Seb too early, knowing that if I don't get it now, the price is going to go up. Was I able to really squeeze the juice from the orange at the time? No. My time was spent towards running the portfolio that we had, which is half a dozen shopping centers, about 50 doors, and taking care of mom. And then that second year of the last 3 years, mom had passed away, and I was really getting things looked at and appraised, talking to attorneys, and not really getting so much into the business, but continue to run the business and see how my brother and I were going to divest everything. The thing I've done all the way along is kept my networking going because I realized what I need to do is continue to market myself so people know who I am. Because it's almost got to me now. As soon as I stop the calls, I'm going to fall. I have a fear of falling off the face of the earth. But you know, I think what I've done is really set myself up in a good position by developing friendships with a lot of people such as yourself. And I
Yeah,
think that's the real key. I say all the time to the new investors, not only don't chase a deal, chase a relationship, but build your network before you need it. And how do you do that? But by marketing yourself. You don't market your business, you market yourself. That leads into your topic, social media and YouTube. And I see the things you've done with your Instagram. And man, you're out there. You're well known from your marketing. You're well known from the success of your achievements. So yeah, I thank you so much for acknowledging, what I've done with my call for the last 4 years. But um, it's all about continuing to surround ourselves with people who are awesome. And I'm building a house in Glendale, California, that should be done. I keep saying about 6 or 7 months. It keeps getting pushed back. But I can't wait to have you over to the new house. I have a bunch of really high profile investors just kicking back and enjoying the view, enjoying good food, enjoying, sodas, iced tea, cocktails, and just building our relationships. But anyhow, what do you see as being, some of the more popular platforms for social media?
yeah. Before I even start, JJ, I everybody on the Zoom, they have no clue. 32 people, 30 there's 32 people on the Zoom and me and JJ is one of them. So there's 30 different people that's on the Zoom and people don't realize you guys don't know you guys most people don't know how much work it takes to run an operation like this, for consistency of 4 years and I'm posting content, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's no joke. Like I have people that I pay almost 7 grand a month for, and for me to crank out content, it is no joke. So guys, please do not take please do not take this for granted because it is a lot of work. JJ, so thank you so much. But to answer your question, my big the the platform for me is I'm now looking at it and I'm like, what do it kind of you have to know what you want with your platform, right? Do you just want a bunch of followers? Because if you want a bunch of followers, I think TikTok might be the platform for you. I don't focus on TikTok,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know.
either.
But I post a lot of my Instagram because a lot of my Instagram, I raised hundreds of thousands of dollars on Instagram. I bought my primary residence for my Instagram. I raised, I mean, I just recently closed a deal last week from my Instagram, and
Wow.
I recruited a lot of people from my Instagram. So like when you look at it, from a perspective of like, do you just want followers and like, just have people watch your content? I think TikTok might be easier. I've never really focused on that, but I think at the end of the day, you have to focus on a content. You have to focus on a platform that serves your best needs. So for me personally, I like to communicate to people through my Instagram DMs, but then I also want people to watch my longer form content, which is my YouTube. So I do both. And then all the short form reels that I make on Instagram, it gets posted on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and it I don't really care about that, you know. So, but just FYI, before I get started, I did a little bit. I did 5 6 minutes of cold plunge this morning, and I'm not feeling too good. Like I'm like blowing my nose. You guys can see me
Yeah.
mute. So just I apologize.
No, you're good, brother. It's a pleasure to have you here in whatever state. And, I mean, I actually got COVID in December, and I thought I was done after about 6 weeks into late January, um, to find out that this new version of COVID, even when it goes away, it still drains your strength for another couple of months. And so I'm doing everything I can do to stay healthy. I'm eating fruit right now, pounding fluids and liquid, and it's important that we stay healthy, and so I totally understand if you're not feeling well. It's we're glad to have you, whatever state you can be here. That's fantastic. Hey, so when you and I first met, it was Facebook. Facebook was a preliminary social media platform, and that's probably how it is for most investors, right? We join the educational community, and they say, "Hey, join our Facebook group, get your Facebook page, sign in with us." Would you imagine that's the basic way people start using social media?
Facebook is an easy platform. I think I definitely don't recommend like being on 5 different platforms at the same time. That's a little overwhelming. I think Instagram is a pretty easy place to start.
Yeah. Now, would Facebook not be the place launching into that though, like the elementary version, and then Instagram is where you're really now starting to put content out?
Yeah, I would say they look like they both help each other with different. I don't go on Facebook on my phone as much. I go on Instagram on my phone. So if I'm going on my Instagram on my phone more, then it's more like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
I go on Facebook, once a day on my computer for like 25 to 30 minutes, and then I look at it all in one fell swoop. So if I'm looking at it if you look at it from that perspective, the day-to-day stuff, like Instagram would be a better option.
Yeah. And I'm in the process now actually making that jump to Instagram. I know that with what I do, helping a lot of new investors get going with social media, that means getting going with Facebook. How to post, how to comment, making sure they have a profile photo up, making sure they have where they live, or are they in an educational group such as Sub 2? Because a lot of people, when they start, they don't understand how to, believe it or not, they don't understand how to even put some of the basics in there. And once the basics are in there, the next step, I direct people to Instagram. Kevin, looks like we got a couple of people have a couple questions for you. So we're going to
Yeah.
a couple of people on. Cynthia Ware, you are on with Kevin Choe. What's your question?
I thank him for being here, particularly with being under the weather just a touch. I just declared 2 weeks ago that spring was here because I had the same symptoms. My
Oh
eyes,
yeah.
yeah. I found myself in the bed early Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I said, "Okay, spring is here. Winter's
Yep.
winter's
Yep.
on his way out the door." But my question, and thanks JJ for the platform week after week after week after. I mean, you just right here plugging in for us, and we
He
love it.
doesn't miss a beat.
Doesn't miss a beat. Yeah.
No.
Uh-huh. Okay, so Kevin, um, I want to ask you, where do you see, not just for the young, somebody like yourself, I have no clue how you where you at right now hit close or been part of 142 property closures. Yeah, that's kaboosh. That's kaboosh. But
That's more than impressive.
yeah, so where do you see the challenge, right? Um, and I don't want to just, well, I guess we could just kind of say plug in for sub two. Have you done anything else? Do you wholesale? Do you rehab? Do you have you grown passive income? I mean, or do
Yeah.
you just do sub two?
Yes, yeah. So I've wholesaled majority of my sub two deals that I've done, right? Over the 140. I don't say I kept all 140 of those properties. I have probably wholesaled about like 90% of them, and then I keep the best one for myself.
Okay.
And going back to the topic of the conversation, like I've like one of the best deals I've ever gotten was from my Instagram. It was people, and I've also closed on a deal where the homeowner of the property saw me on Pace's YouTube channel, and they came to my YouTube channel, and they came to my Instagram, and he sent me a DM and said, "I want to sell you my house, subject to. I want you
Wow.
to be a buyer." And that happened to me probably 6 times already, and I'm like, imagine how many opportunities that Pace gets just by doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so where do you find the toughest challenge for a person to either do their first deal or stay in a circle of doing deals? Because do you recommend starting a team? Are you part of a team?
Well, Cynthia, so I mean, you're 928, so you're somewhere like Yuma or Flagstaff, Sedona.
Oh, no, 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 no. I lost my phone when I was working at the Navajo reservation. I lost my phone when I was traveling. So I'm actually in Missouri, St. Louis area.
Okay, okay. Um, I mean, are you asking me if I have a team or?
Yeah, where you find the challenge to everyone on here wants to do more. I would say they want to do more. They want to do great, bigger things. I find money is usually a primary a factor, and so I'm trying to concentrate this year on two things. Last year I didn't master wholesaling, and I want to master wholesaling, and I want to start a raising private money leg, not only just for myself, but to help support other people's deals. So
Okay.
what I'm asking is, do you see a place that kind of challenge people to level up? Or just it's just been so easy for you, you don't see no challenge. I mean, it could be that too for you.
I mean, Cynthia, you also have to remember, like I've been doing it for over 3 years, right? So I can't say there's no challenge in it. Um,
Well, Kevin, maybe let me maybe try and help rephrase this. For the new investor of any age, right? Some are your age, some are closer to my age, some are right in the middle of us, like Cynthia. Um, but for the new investor, what are some of the biggest hurdles or challenges that we need to overcome to get the hamster spinning in the wheel?
yes, the biggest challenge, in my opinion, is simply like actually showing up. Because I do a lot of lending deals here in my businesses that I have, right? Like a lot of people here do gator lending deals, and people like there's an event going on here in town called Race Fest, raising money and all that stuff. I was there. I just showed up just to show face when Pace was speaking at the event, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, I've been in Gator for the last 7 months, but I don't even know how to find these opportunities. Like, how do you even find these people?" And this is not the first time that I've gotten that question, right? So, and the question that you asked me was like, "Hey, I'm newer. Like, how can I get the ball rolling?" And I said the exact same thing. Like, so what I did, what I'm going to be doing, I just told my YouTube guy today. I said, well, I'm going to do a challenge for myself for 7 days, and I'm going to make literally $20,000 just in one week on Gator lending. Like I went on Facebook, I showed my I have a I hired a girl for this. I hired a personal full-time person for this. Just to go out on Facebook and find these Gator lending opportunities for me. That was her full-time job. And without even her, just me, there's no doubt in my mind I'll make $20,000 next week, February 26th on Monday, just by doing what I'm doing. So it has everything. It's nothing to do with the tactical side of things, but it has everything to do with the fact that you are and that I'm actually showing up and putting in the work. So, and I'm not saying and I don't say this to like, criticize you. I'm just saying like generally, like people want to see like, hey, are there any easy opportunities before I move on to something else?
Mhm.
So, Cynthia, for you, consistency is the name of the game.
I think I'm gonna go back to thinking grow rich.
Yep.
You got to first have an idea. You got to start off with a mindset and an idea, and then put a plan to it. So the consistency is the plan. You got to first come with the idea. And so you started off talking about do a challenge, get your VA involved. Um, your goal, your idea is raise $20,000 in a week. So I'm a drop
I'm not raising 20 grand. I'm making 20 grand.
making, making, making.
Yes.
Tell me the difference between the two. What I say, raising,
You said
making.
raising. You said raising. Kevin's going to be making 20 grand.
Tell me the difference between the two. Break it to me.
Cynthia, this is
Young
not a general
fella.
Q&A. Cynthia, you got to come prepared. This is not a general Q&A for you to ask questions. Okay?
I mean,
So,
Cynthia, I think what Kevin's saying legitimately, I mean, if we have a project, we have to raise money for a project, and you're used to raising money for a project. But once you raise money for the project, there's got to be a profit. And so Kevin's talking about all the activity that he generates, he's going to make that money. But as we're talking about our topic today, our topic is about social media and YouTube. And what Kevin said earlier is you got to bring it. We need to be visible. And the way that we are able to, like, we all want the same thing. We want to be able to have opportunities that we can capitalize on, we can monetize on. We all want the same thing. We want to surround ourselves with successful people. But the way we do this by marketing ourselves. What Kevin says when he says be visible and put yourself out there, it's a
Mhm.
matter of using Instagram, using LinkedIn, using YouTube, using Facebook. But if we're not marketing ourselves, nobody will do it for us. So it's about being visible, right, Kev?
that's the name of the game.
Mark Presswood and Yvonne, you are on with Kevin Choe. What's your question?
What's up, Kevin?
Hey.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it. Hey, you're just touching on its mindset about using these platforms and taking advantage of the gift that we've been given, right?
Right.
The power of platform. I just wanted to get back to, I think it's a lot of mindset. You're out there at Race Fest. We had one of our coaches actually out there talking, but it's mindset. Like you just said, you're setting the intention to actually make a profit. So you're setting that expectation and you're going to put in the work to actually do the thing. So it's maybe posting or commenting, liking, and like what JJ says all the time is chase the relationship. You
Right.
help enough people get what they want, you'll get everything you want, right?
Right. Right.
And as you mentioned mindset, Mark, so many people are talking about mindset out there. It's a matter of mindset. You have to have the right mindset. But what we're doing is interactive. We're working with other people. Real estate's about people. So when we talk about having the right mindset, the real mindset needs to be in how do we create a positive flow of interactivity with other people, and that's building those positive relationships.
Right.
But
100%.
really want to thank you and Yvonne for jumping on today. We got a couple more calls.
So yesterday I was at the event called Race Fest, and Pace was a speaker on it. And there's one thing he gave a phenomenal speech like he always does, and he like tells stories after stories after stories. And I'm sitting in the very front row seat, and Pace is right in front of me, and he's like walking around and walking around. And as soon as he comes up on the stage, he doesn't say, "Hi, my name is Pace Morby. I'm a creative finance guy. I have half a billion dollars in real estate. Blah blah blah." He doesn't say any of that. The first thing he says, and nobody will guess what he said. The first thing he says was, "Hi, everybody. There's a difference between a cockroach and a cricket. Cricket is what happens. What happens when you're far away from the cricket? What do they do?" And he goes, "They chirp. they chirp and chirp and chirp and chirp. They talk shit. And then what happens when you walk over there and you're in like right next to it?
Silent.
It's complete silence. And then later down the road, he was he was giving another speech, but he was talking about how he became such a phenomenal storyteller, right? Because we can all agree that Pace is one of the best storyteller out there.
Yes.
And Steve Trang was in the audience, and Pace got on Steve Trang's podcast about 6 years ago, and that's when he like really started to pick up traction in terms of social media because people reached out to him from watching Steve Trang's podcast, and he said the statistic is if there's 100 podcasts that gets started like every year, and this is a more than 100 podcasts get started, how many of them even make it towards past 3 episodes? 20%,
Wow.
right? So 20 podcasts make it to the 4th episode. And of that 20 podcasts, how many of them make it to 30 episodes? 5% of them, right? So if you do the math, it's like literally less than 5% of the podcasts that get started. If there's 100 podcasts that get started, for YouTube in the top 1%, you just gotta do it for 31 episodes or more or or less, depending on what kind of topic it is. And he says the story the starting a podcast is not about for you, it's not for you to necessarily go out and raise money, bring in out opportunities, what all the opportunities that come from it. And you can ask JJ for what all the opportunities that came from it. And he said the reason why I'm so glad I started a podcast and I started to speak in front of stages when like there's 5 people on stage is not because of the opportunities that come from it. It's because of it helps him become a better storyteller, right? So like for me, like this Zoom, there's 33 people on the Zoom, and it's like it's 1/10 the size when I first did the Zoom with JJ, and I couldn't be happier because I get to come here and perform and become a better storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people ask me, "Hey, Kevin, like, I don't even know what to post. I don't want to make fool of myself. I want to make content that people love." But I can tell you, like 95% of the people that even watch your content, they just scroll through it and they don't, and 5 minutes later, they don't even care. Like they're like, oh, did I watch his pocket? Did I just watch his video? I mindlessly scroll through 250 Instagram reels every single day, and guess how many of them I actually remember? Maybe one of them every single day. Like, can we all agree here? Like, no, you scroll through Instagram, you're like, oh my God, I'm spending 3 hours on Instagram. Okay, what did you remember? No, I don't know. So this is my philosophy in when it comes to starting a podcast, or I don't have a start podcast, but just posting a reel, right? And this is one thing that I really do want to highlight here on the Zoom because I'm not going to go out and tell people, hey, go out and start a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is a very tough. It's hard. JJ and I we're doing it, and it's no joke. But everybody here has Instagram, right? I know Tim does. Tim has Instagram. I know Grant, you have Instagram. I imagine you're younger. Yeah. Everybody in here has Instagram, and we have the ability to become. We have the ability to make a content right on the phone. So for those of you guys who follow me on Instagram, I post a lot, right? I just literally. I don't know if this is maybe this is just me doing it because I do it all the time, but I literally just did a time lapse of me talking with you guys, right? And what I'm going to be doing is I'm just gonna put a little music over it and say, I'm hanging out with JJ's community, and that's one piece of content, right? So if you really think about it in your day-to-day life, right, Tim? I know I talk with you all the time at the meetup. I talk with your wife. Like there's so many, everything is literally a piece of content that not many people are realizing, right? But this is a thing. Is for me, every time I go out to the field and look at a project. Hey guys, I'm here at 4331 East Cherokee Street. I'm just checking out this house. This is the house right behind me. I bought this for literally no money out of my pocket. Blah 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 blah. Do I know a lot of people are gonna actually learn from that? The answer at this point is yes. A lot of people are going to learn from that. I also go live on Instagram all the time. Hey guys, check out this property. I'm walking this property, and you know what? The reason why I love this big doing business is because my transaction coordinator is a sub two student, and I raise money from the sub two student, and JJ got me popular on his podcast, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. It's literally the point of Instagram, the point of posting on social media, and I'm specifically talking about Instagram on this topic, is not for you to get popularity. My goal is to post one reel a day, and I can easily post 3 reels a day. Like this, I got one reel, and I can go to Trader Joe's in the next hour after this, and I can make another silly video out of it. The point of I want everybody to understand this is the point of you doing the point of you posting on Instagram and any other social media platform for that matter is for you to become a great storyteller. Because how would you ever hop on have bigger stage opportunities when you can't even talk to a small camera like this and you get scared? Oh my gosh. Right? And for me, like I'm very familiar with the real estate community. So I can go into any room and I can talk about real estate all day, 24/7. You will have to take the mic away from me for me to stop talking. But I went to this mastermind yesterday. This guy named Jesse Ray, he hosts this growth house opportunity where it's like basically like he buys a house and he fills up the houses with like-minded individuals, and it's entrepreneurial house. And he's hosting a mastermind, and in this group it's invite only. It's very tight. Everybody's doing 7-8 figures a year. And I get invited to that room. And mind you, I haven't hit $1 million yet. I got close to it last year. But I'm like I'm the smallest fish in the pond. Like I make the least amount of money, and that's the room that everybody should be in. And I'm looking, and then everybody, and then the Jesse goes, all right, here's a baton, and pretend like this is a mic, and go around and and you have 20 seconds to introduce yourself, your name, what you do for a living, and where you're from, and what you're looking to get out of this mastermind in 20 seconds. Like, all right, my name is Kevin Choe. I'm from California, and that was like 3 seconds, and I have 17 seconds to explain what I do in all of my businesses, and everybody's like going through it, and then I get the baton, and I completely for the first 10 seconds, it took me 10 seconds for me to go through my name and tell them where I'm from, because I'm like, hello, my name is Kevin Choe, and I was actually born in South Korea, but like I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and then I moved to Las Vegas. I'm here in Phoenix. Boom, 13 seconds. And then I didn't even get a chance to talk to I didn't even get a chance to explain what I do for the 7 seconds because I wasn't prepared for that. Imagine if I spend all of my time, or not all of my time, but if I spend, 17 minutes a day, whatever the number was earlier. If I spend 17 minutes a day explaining what I do for work, talking on my iPad, or talking on my little camera, saying, "Hey guys, this is what I do for work." If I had gotten that reps in, I'll be able to get through it, and I'll be able to get a control of the room. And people would recognize my presence. And that's one thing that I realize is, you know what? I don't have any reps in. My heart was beating out of my chest after my time was up, because you know what? Like I totally fumbled it. Like it's literally explaining to people that what I do for work, where I'm from, and all that stuff. I should be able to get that done in 15 seconds, and not have heartbeat out of my chest, right? So the reason why I stopped, I didn't want to take on Q&A, I'll go over, and I'll do the Q&A later too. But the reason why I didn't really want to go over the Q&A was because, guys, you have to get the reps in. How would you ever get none of you guys are speaking on stages. None of you guys are even talking. All you guys are doing is consuming content, and you guys are like, you know what? I want to buy multifamily. Okay. How are you gonna do it? I'm gonna go talk to people, and like, okay, are you getting the reps, and are you doing the role play? I I make the intention, and every night I do this. I put on a podcast of such a great storyteller, and I put the podcast at 0.75 times the speed. right? So if I'm talking to stage, it's like, hello, my name is Kevin Choe, and I'm from California, and right now I live in Phoenix, I pursue my career in real estate, specifically around creative finance, where I buy houses with none of my own cash, none of my own credit, and none of my own credentials. But then I'll slow it down to like sometimes even half, and I'll say, hello, my name is Kevin, and I am from California, blah blah blah, and I would recite exactly after that person. And I do this with Pace all the time. So if Pace is speaking, I recite exactly what he says like nanoseconds before that, because I want to speak like him. I want the intonation. I want the I want his like clear diction. I want to be as articulate as him. I want to what body language is he using? So he's using this word, grand, and he's using this like big hand gesture. Okay, let me copy exactly what he's doing. That's my way of practicing storytelling. And that's I do that at like late at night. And then like the next day, if I go into the field, I like my pace's energy comes out, and I can just become a great storyteller, right? So like the last how long have I been speaking? Like the last 9 minutes? It's storytelling. It's storytelling. I take notes. I say, like, how does Pace compliment this person? What's the format? Why does he say it that way? When does he go in? Like, when is a perfect time to go into into the compliment? You know, how does he, where did he get that little, what I love the line that Pace uses where um and JJ, I compliment you because I truly mean this, but when doing a YouTube it takes way more work than most people realize. And that line, that little compliment that I gave to you earlier on, it's the same format as Pace complimenting everybody else. But JJ, I truly compliment you. I truly respect
Oh,
for what you're doing. But then I know how to like I took that exact line and I'm like, I don't want to say using it, but I'm like using that line in multiple settings, right?
well,
So
and we all talk about, you know, if someone is good at something like pace, why reinvent the wheel? Compliment perfection. It's easier to take your path to success when you compliment someone who's doing something that works. And like you say, if what Pace is doing is working for him, and he's a role model for so many people, for you and for me, that
oh, 100%.
to whatever we could take away from his style to improve our style is only going to make our path to success quicker.
Right, right. And just FY, I had a so I went to the gym with Keston Glasgow today. One of my very close.
Monster, monster.
Yeah, he's huge. I went to the cold plunge with him, which is the reason why I'm sick. But I was hanging out with him, and I was hanging out with him because he flew into town to speak to because he flew into town to speak at a mastermind, and I'm like, hey, is there a specific reason why you want to speak at that mastermind? It's you could have spoken at any other masterminds, but you decide to come all the way over to fly to Arizona and drive 2 hours, into this little mountain, this desert area. Is there a reason why you wanted to speak at that? And he says, well, the reason why I want to speak at that is because I want to get as many reps in as possible. He's not getting paid. He uses personal cash, probably close to $1,000 on fare, and now the time away from his family, and his wife is pregnant. And I said, and he says, the reason why I want to speak on as many stages as possible is not for me. It's not necessary for me to like, grow my business. Yes, that's a byproduct, but I want to get as many reps in as possible. So he showed me his notes, and he has so many, like he has like notes after notes after notes about all the things, all the analogies, all the what do you call it, like the metaphors. Like he has a list of all those things, and it's like ready to go. So all that to say is I kind of want to do a challenge with everybody here. I know that like, I know some of you guys are like, you know what, I'm a little too old for this. I'm a little too young for this. Or matter of fact, I'm a little too cool for you, Kevin. So I'm not going to participate in my challenge with you.
Bring it,
Uh,
brother.
what
I challenge my group all the time, so bring it.
what I want to do is I'm thinking for the next 14 days, one Instagram reel a day. Okay. And it could be, as you could say, one sentence. It could be like, "Hey guys, I'm here checking out my house, and look at this house right here. It's a beautiful house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and it's a 1,300 square feet. And this is a beautiful town here in Gilbert, Arizona, and blah blah blah." And you just show the house, and boom, there you go. And like I said, it's not for you to be popular. It's for you to become a better storyteller. There's a significant difference, right? As the moment I start to post a lot more on Instagram. And matter of fact, let me show you my vulnerable side of things. See this little video of me like with a brown vest on?
Yeah.
It's it takes me so many tries,
Want to publicly say
right? Like I'm making mistakes.
I'm critical. Everybody, go. Everybody, I'm going to tag my best friend.
I'm stuttering all the time. I mean, this is look at this. Look how many tries it takes
Yeah.
for me, right? Let me.
I'm from Scottsdale checking out a property that I might be buying, seller finance. And then I'm also on my way to Mesa to check up on another house that's something that I might be.
See, stuttering. I stutter at the end. I lose my train of thought.
Okay, I'm on my way back to Scottsdale to check up on a house that I might be buying on seller finance here in Arizona. And then before I go home, I'm also going to check up on.
Lose my train of thought again. And what you see on my Instagram reel is it takes me 20 different tries. It takes me so many tries for me to perfect that continuous flow of
Yeah.
words coming in and out, right? So do not
Kevin, let me ask
consider-
you.
Yes.
If I've done an Instagram reel before, it's been by accident. So when one does an Instagram reel, how long should that be? 15, 30, 60 seconds, 90 seconds?
At least 20 seconds.
At least 20 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. At
And
least
no longer than what? A minute? No longer than 40 seconds?
Well, it's gonna cap you at 90 seconds.
Oh, it will. Okay.
Yeah. You can't have a reel more than 90 seconds. Which is a problem, which is now a problem for me because I want to talk for more than 90 seconds. Don't stop me at 90 seconds. Are you kidding me? But guys, this is literally like the more I get better at talking to people, and this is not even on social media. I'm just talking about social media right now. But every time I go to the gym, what I practice, if they're within my within my reach, I'm like I try to pick up a conversation. Like, so if JJ was next to me and you and I are like working out together, or you were working next to me, I'd be like, "Yo, that's a cool tattoo you got. Like, what's that tattoo what's that tattoo right there? Like that little looks like a little frying pan or whatever, or the skull." Like I'll start a conversation, and then I'm trying to keep up a conversation. Right? It's becoming reading the body language of other people and becoming a better storyteller.
It's so funny you should say that because frequently I stuttered as a kid horribly, and it's taken me a long time to host a call, much less become a speaker. But I like to break conversation with something as silly as whether it's a guy or a lady. I like, excuse me, love your shoes. If it's a woman, I'll emphasize, love your shoes. If it's a guy, hey, buddy, cool shoes. And oh, thank you. And for me, as you're saying, anything to create a topic. There's a young man after the call I want to introduce you to. He's been on my group. His name's Peter Yim. And he started as, kind of quiet student. I've challenged him. That's what I love the challenge. He's done at least 6 or 7 videos for our group now, each one getting progressively better. And maybe after we're off the call at another time, I'd love to introduce him to you because I think he's very deserving of following it with some. And I'm sure he's going to be one of the guys that's going to take your challenge of 14 days of doing a short reel. But yeah, was it difficult for you doing reels when you started them?
Of course, yeah, it's no joke. I mean, even talking to people at the gym is hard, right? But now I got so used to it. Like I just got this girl's number the other day. I wasn't even it wasn't even my intention, but she was working out. She was like doing little crunches, but she had her shoes off. She was working with her shoes off next to her, And I'm like, I was just in a good mood, and I like teased her a little bit. I'm like, I was wondering what that smell was coming from, like stupid like that. It's so stupid. But it's like it's like everybody's having a great time, like you don't want to be like the serious guy, right? So this is not, yes, it's for storytelling, yes, but storytelling will get you it will open up so many doors for you. Like I've raised over $500,000 in real estate. I have I've used $500,000 of real estate for like over 24 months, like 24 terms. And you know what I do on my phone call? I stories after stories after stories. I say, you know what? So if JJ is my potential lender on my next deal, I say, you know what, JJ, here's the thing is like I have list of lenders lined up that wants to become a lender of mine. But right now I'm just looking at it like, you know, um, like I want to use lenders that where I don't have to refinance them for the next 24 months. So so if you decide to give me 50 grand, I want to have your money for 24 months because what happened on the last lender that I borrowed was he gave me money for 6 months, and then like it took me the amount of work it takes for me to refinance somebody out every 6 months is now worth for me to, blah blah blah. Stories after stories after stories. So it's a storytelling is just a skill that you will just um, it's a skill that you will use in everything, like seller calls. I mean, I'm phenomenal on the agent calls, which is the reason why I've done 140 sub twos. You put me on a phone call with any agent and tell me out if they're if unless if it's a if the situation is right, I will close that agent no matter what because I have stories after stories after stories. So I
Cool.
challenge everybody, and
Now,
uh,
Kevin, is this a manner of building rapport, using stories to build rapport to get a better relationship?
well, it could be for anything really. Like what was it? I got a um it number one, it's just for practice. How are you gonna raise $1 million if you haven't even raised $100,000 and you don't even know how to pitch? You don't even have the confidence to pitch $100,000. You got to start somewhere, right? So, and where better is where. And matter of fact, I mean, if you're really shy about this, like, just don't post it. Just at least keep it in your folder. At least get the reps in, you know. So I just wanted to share that because I'm now moving into multifamily, and this is a conversation that I had with Keston at the sauna before we went into cold plunge. I was like, Keston, I want to get into the multifamily side of things, and he has like a 40 something unit of multifamily, and like he has like a bunch of other properties too. And he says, Kevin, the name of the game, if you want to get into multifamily, you have to learn how to raise money. And the difference between people that actually know how to raise money and the people that don't know how to raise money are the people that don't know how to raise money. They don't know how to tell stories. They're very straight to the point. This is a 10% cap, whatever the terminology is. Versus people that actually know how to raise money, they just stories after stories sell, right? So that's a challenge he gave me, and that's a challenge I'm giving to everybody on this Zoom is, you
I
know,
love that. I love
I mean,
that.
we when I started speaking about 15 minutes ago, we had 33 people on the Zoom, and we still have 33 people, which means I have a good retention rate, right? Like that's a KPI that I track. When I post my YouTube video, I look at, okay, how long do people stick around for the first 60 seconds, and my numbers keep going up and up and up because I hook the audience with my stories right off the bat, right? So JJ, anything you want to add on? I mean, I
Yeah,
could
you know
talk.
what? I absolutely love what you talk about because, I love the 14-day challenge of doing, one reel per day. And I was challenging my people to do, one video, just one short, put to hold their phone to their face and do a short video and post that to my group at least once a week. But I love kicking it up to doing one a day for 14 days. And Peter Yim, if you're out there, I'm talking to you in particular because you're an awesome guy at this. And the other thing I really love about what you talked about is getting in the reps. After our Zoom call in our networking session of the breakout rooms, it's always about I have an exercise for people to share with one another, and basically what that exercise is getting the reps in. And I think I'd like to take two more questions, and then we're going to curtail. We're going to end the call. We'll jump into the breakout rooms. But can I bring on two more guys? Bring on two more
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
Justin Kremer, you are on with the Kevin Choe. What's your question?
The Kevin Choe. Hey, Kevin, and JJ, thank you guys both for coming in and sharing your wisdom and for what you guys do. Just is awesome. So my question for you, Kevin, is kind of about, I always like to hear kind of the backstory. So like when you first started and you first started posting reels and you first started doing this whole thing before you were paying people 7 grand a month to help you with it, what did that look like? What did that look like for you? And how did you, it's kind of a two-part question. And like, how did you balance that with starting a business? Like in doing wholesaling, doing real estate investing, like obviously it just becomes a part of your routine, but like what did that look like for you?
You have to learn how to integrate it, right? So what I mean by that is for me to pull out, I just made an Instagram reel just now.
And so what like was that kind of what you were doing when you first started? Were you were just making 1 minute videos? You were just kind of like throwing whatever you could up on Instagram, or were you more targeted? You know what I mean? Like for example, everybody talks about I want to do this thing and do that thing and do this thing and do that thing. And it's like if you just stayed focused and sharpened your skill on one thing, you get really good at it. And I would imagine like if you're more focused and targeted on Instagram, maybe you get better results or maybe not. I don't know. Like it was it
Don't
just like
worry about that. Don't
yeah.
worry about that. Just make a
Okay.
post, make
Yeah.
content.
And so was that what you were doing? You were just
Yeah.
throwing yeah. Okay. Cool. And what
Hey,
about and what about your balance with like your business? Like were you just like you just kind of integrated it into your day, just made it a part of your business day? Or do you
yeah.
just okay.
I mean, now I do a little bit different. So sometimes like I have this software. Let me share with you. I do little if you see my screen, like you know how it's split. I
Yeah.
would like talk about like, hey, this is 123 Main Street, and I'm underwriting this deal. Like this is something that I do outside of the Zoom.
Right.
Like this is not part of my business. It takes me like 3 hours on top of what I'm already doing in my business to create content. So,
Mm.
but other than that, like if you're busy, and then a lot of you guys, I understand a lot of you guys are busy here. I would just focus on how can I make a content on the existing opportunities that I have.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Cool,
Yeah,
man. Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate all you do. Both of you guys appreciate what you do. Amazing.
thank you.
Justin, appreciate you. Kenny Durant, you're on with Kevin Choe. What's your question?
Hey, thanks so much, JJ. Thanks, Kevin, for being here.
Yeah,
Appreciate you taking the time. Hey, I was just everything you've said has been awesome, and a lot of it's just getting the reps in, which totally makes sense. You can improve your craft by getting those reps in, and then you kind of mentioned you'll kind of I don't know if you'd say imitate or just practice what others are doing, like pace. You were saying you're kind of you know, practicing his speech and stuff. So along with, getting the reps in, which makes sense, like how do you are there other things you're doing to kind of hone your craft, like, other than, seeing what others are doing, kind of implementing that? Um, I guess, is there anything else you're doing to kind of outside of all of that you'd already mentioned to improve your skills, I guess, as far as that goes, like other courses you're doing or just kind of practicing, doing it over and over?
I watch a lot of videos on like comedy, and people love hearing funny stuff, right? So for me, I sometimes I'll just watch like a couple of comedians, like I don't know, Matt Rife or something, and I'll take his line and I'll just like memorize it, and like 3 months later, I just use it like without even thinking about it, you know? Um, like that's one thing. Because at the end of the day, there's so many things you can say. There are limited things you can say to some people, right? So like, let's just say you take on an agent call and you're pitching them a seller finance. How many objections can they really give you? Not much, you know? like I can overcome just about any objections when it comes to creative finance. So can Pace, and so can so many other people. And once you overcome all these objections, like it's just like a world is your oyster. And now you go conquer other things. Podcast is a really good thing to just or sales pitch. Sales pitch is really good. I was because Jesse was doing a sales pitch yesterday at the mastermind. He was trying to sell his mastermind, and I can say it was pretty bad. I'm not gonna watch that, but when you look at like the Grant Cardones of the world, they're selling their products. I mean, how good are they at sales? Like, it makes you feel so bad. Like you're like, it makes you feel bad if you don't take on the offer, right? So, yeah, TED Talks are great sources. I don't know. I would just say like pick like 3 or 4 people that are phenomenal storytellers and just like imitate what they do.
Well, that's great. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hey, yeah, appreciate it so much. It's been really helpful. Thanks, both of you.
Thank you.
Kenny, to tail into what Kevin had said, and I love his analogy of comedy and watching comics. But I've lived in Hollywood my whole life. I've been in the film industry, and but you hear about comics, and like Lucille Ball, you hear about physical comics, and the Marx Brothers, but being able to get on stage and as Kevin was saying, how Pace moves his hands and how you move your body and how you emphasize something, that's huge with speaking to a group. That as I'm moving my hands this way, as we're moving our hands out, as someone's gonna be like this, which is he looks kind of like a statue there, but it's important in speaking to others that we have some amount of physicality to our presentation, but also that we have tonality and that we're up with our voice and we're down with our voice and we're excited and we're not so excited. But to have that fluctuation, John Wayne, one of the greatest actors of all time. There's stories of him about what we call the verbal pause and the nonverbal pause. And the verbal pause would be something about, well, I was going to ride this horse, and like the horse was gray, and it needed a saddle, but I wasn't sure how to ride it, and we went riding into the hills. Those are verbal pauses. The nonverbal pause was there was this horse, and I was going to ride it, and we took it into the hills, and we went on a ride. And sometimes when you're speaking to a group of people, just pausing a little bit causes everybody listening to be waiting for your next word. It's like, what are they like? Kevin's a success story. When Kevin talks, people listen. You know, so anybody when you are able to even in a arena meeting to gather someone's attention for a minute, pause, have them wait, anticipating your next word, and you'll find you have their attention more. But it's a combination, I think, in polishing our craft as speakers is to connect from heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, to have some, as Kevin said, some amount of physicality, and watching your vocal delivery. Does your tone go up? Does your tone go down? Are you pausing a bit? And I think, as Kevin said earlier, it's just about practicing our craft and getting the reps in. As our group, as we do in our breakout rooms, and they match people up every week to speak within the next week. That's our opportunity to practice our rap, which we do every single week on all of our calls. But anyhow, I wanted to throw that in, Kenny. So with that, thank you for your question, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, GJ.
Grant, what's your question?
Hey guys, hey Kevin, it's awesome to be here. JJ, thanks for another awesome episode. Kevin, I just want to say it's cool, being on here with you. It's cool to share this space and get to be able to talk to you. I watch your YouTube and
Rock
starting to follow you on
star.
Instagram. So this is really cool. What a cool space to be a part of. There's a ton of feedback in here, getting the reps, putting in the work, just getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. Like as soon as I hit raise hand on the screen here, like my heart rate started to go up because I started to get nervous. That's because I don't have a lot of practice. But in regards to social media, I have a hard time posting videos just because I don't have a lot of followers, and there's a like super small percentage of people that even do real estate. So Um, I'm planning on doing that on my own, right? Being more consistent. That's my task. What I wanted to ask you is about editing. So with Instagram Reels, you can kind of just shoot it in 20 seconds, 20 to 90 seconds, and clip it up a little bit if you need to, but that's about it. Do I need to worry about over editing simple things like Instagram Reels versus a full-blown YouTube video that takes me a whole week to edit in DaVinci Resolve, So I guess my question is should I worry about over editing simple things like Instagram Reels or just put it out there?
Instagram Reel, I've realized the less editing that I do, the better it performs. So if you go to my Instagram, like the one that I just posted yesterday, it's got like 10,000 views. So, and compared to the followers that I have, 9,500 views, almost 9,600 views, and I have 16,000 followers. So that's a phenomenal ratio. And all my reels, I don't do any of the the editing, like how like there's like a little picture that pops up and there's caption going back and forth, and it's like people
Yeah.
love the authenticity. So I don't want do not edit anything. If anything, this is what I'll do is, you can just add the
There's
caption.
nothing more I treasure.
You see these captions right here?
Hmm.
Like that's free. You
Yeah.
can just go on your Instagram and like
Okay.
they'll make the captions for you.
Easy.
But YouTube you have to edit. Yeah, people don't want to.
Do you
You
mind
have
if I ask you a follow-up?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Cool. So, I do want to make YouTube videos, and like you said, it's a ton of work, especially being consistent, not just making the videos themselves. So, at what point, when you started getting onto the YouTube side, did you outsource your editing and, you know, start paying somebody to edit your videos or film you, you know, because it is a
So I
lot.
had almost immediately,
Okay.
but I changed as of 3 weeks ago. I was having somebody edit it, and I'm like, this is not Kevin Choe. This is not what Kevin Choe would post. Matter of fact, it's not even
Okay.
what I would say.
That's interesting.
So
Okay.
I don't like I don't like when other people edit my videos. Like I'm putting in the effort to make it Kevin Cho content, and like you're coming in and like you know
Hmm.
farting all over it. Like this is my
Yeah.
stuff. Don't fart it. Don't
Okay.
fart.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great point, man. You don't want anybody changing your style if it's not what you want. So that's a great point.
yeah.
So, Kevin, I got two last questions to ask you as we move on. Let you get some rest because I know it's not great, not feeling good. Um, First question, if people want to get a hold of you, they want to follow up, what's the best way? Would it be your MySpace page?
Instagram is probably the best way. I respond to all just about everything on my Instagram.
Go ahead and make sure you're following Kevin's at Kevin Cho 12 on Instagram, and you can message him there. You also have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to support Kevin in his YouTube, you can as well. But his main way to contact him is going to be on his Instagram. Last question, and we've talked about this most of the call indirectly, but there's so many education platforms out there for real estate that have a Facebook group for their community. I know of at least 30, if not 50, that have a Facebook community. There are new investors coming every day who are brand new to investment, or some are very experienced to investment, but they're coming to the social media platform of these Facebook groups. So we all have Facebook pages and now Instagram pages. For the new investor, whether they're experienced or inexperienced, new to social media, what is the importance of networking to the success of their business? And what would be the importance of joining a group like mine to the success of the real estate investors' success and business?
So today I did a 6 minute cold plunge, and if I was there by myself, I would not have done a 6 minute cold plunge. And it works exactly the same way. It's like, you have to be with a community of people that are doing the same thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't push yourself to the limits. So, I mean, I contribute all my success, like literally 100% of my success to the community that I was part of when I first joined real estate. And, some of them are paid and some of them are not. And that's totally okay. So for anyone that's like looking to get into some sort of community, whether it's paid or not, you should everybody should join at least like 3 different communities and start participating in that, truly.
Well, Kevin, I want to thank you so much. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now, I want you to please like Kevin's video. Please put some comments down on your takeaways, what really stuck out to you, maybe how we can improve our product a little bit better to bring more value to you in the future. If you're on the call right now, guys, do not go away. We're going to go to the breakout rooms. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can follow Kevin on Instagram at Kevin Choe 12. If you want to connect with me, go to my Facebook, go to my website, jjzizan.com. Click the little register now button. You'll be invited to all these calls in the future. And with that, Kevin, I want to thank you so much. If you hang around for a minute or two after we end the call, we'll all be able to just say thank you so much. But for right now, guys, Kevin and I are done. And Kevin, we'll see them out in social media land, right?
Yes.
See you guys around. Thank you so much.